right, so you were talking about giraffes running fast. They can run about 35 miles an hour. For our Canadian friends, and certainly for Mika, that's 56 kilometers.
Yep.
We don't often do those conversions anymore.
Well, we don't usually have an episode requested by a cute little Canadian.
That's correct. Although you could make the argument that all Canadians are cute.
Sure.
Right?
Nice at the very least.
So, have you ever seen a giraffe run in person?
I don't know that I have. You know that thing when you start to get older, Chuck, where your brain has been around long enough that it can just make up memories,
Sure.
and you don't know if you actually experienced it or if your brain's like, this is what that person just asked would look like, so just go ahead and say yes. That's what I just did. I'm not sure if I have or not, but at the very least I've seen it on TV and can imagine it.
All right, so I know we did an episode on zoos and whether or not zoos are good or bad, and I sort of still haven't completely made up my mind on zoos, but
I have.
I know you have. You're on record. But I went to the San Diego Zoo when we did a tour show there a couple of years ago, and they have a giraffe habitat, a very nice one, and they had some giraffes walking around doing cute stuff, and then one of them, out of nowhere, took off and started running, and it was the most graceful thing I've probably ever seen in nature that didn't involve wings and flying.
Oh, wow.
It was unbelievable. Like, you can look it up on YouTube, giraffes running, but...
So, like banjo music wouldn't have been appropriate?
No.
No?
No. It's just, they just sort of glide, man, and they're so big, and their necks are going forward and backward, kind of like they're cranking it out with their neck, and then their legs, it almost seems like they're not touching the ground. It's not like it's a gallop, but it's hard to explain. Like, when you see a horse gallop, you feel like they're grabbing that ground, and it's very just strong looking. But a giraffe just sort of glides. It's for such a big animal, and that might have something to do with the optics of it. But it's just something to see.
Well, they also, the way that they move their legs is kind of peculiar as well. I think when they're running, it's front legs and then back legs and front legs and then back legs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But then when they're moving along at a slower speed, they're moving like right side legs, left side legs. Right side legs, left side legs.
Oh, really?
So it's not like one at a time, or it's a bizarre way to walk around.
Interesting.
Yet another amazing thing about giraffes.
All right, so one of our favorite things are groups of animals, names of groups of animals, like, a murder of crows and where they get these crazy names. And giraffes, I never knew until today, a group of giraffes is called a tower.
I didn't know that either.
Really neat.
So giraffes, it's long been known they're social animals. They live in packs, but again,
they live in towers.
They live in towers. I'm sorry. They since they weren't really studied out in the field, everything that they noticed about giraffe sociality was basically in zoos, and that's an artificial habitat, right? So they didn't get to see the real giraffes. But now that they've really started to study them out in the field, like systematically and really scientifically, they're finding that giraffes are like even more social than they thought.
Yeah, and they're also sort of like a liberal hippie commune.
Right.
A tower can have 10 to 20 members, but it's not like a lot of pecks or murders or gaggles where you have the women and the children are here and the men do this. It's sort of anything goes. There can be mixed genders. They can be young and old. Members can come and go as they please. They don't necessarily stick together for life. It just seems like it's sort of a loose arrangement where giraffes will be like, all right, I'm cool to hang out with you guys for a little while.
Right, exactly. And the other thing that struck me too was that giraffe towers don't have territories, which I can't think of any other mammals off the top of my head that don't protect their turf.
Yeah.
So apparently when giraffes do fight, male giraffes do fight, it's strictly over access to the ladies.
Oh, well.
But that's it. It's not like, hey, get out of here. This is my acacia tree.
Right.
You know?
True.
I just think that's neat. There's no territories. It's like, go wherever you want, man.
Yeah. Very chill. This is one of the other big facts of the show for me. So, giraffes, one of their evolutionary adaptations is because they are so vulnerable to attack, because they eat 16 to 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
and they're just hanging out, eating, trying to all get along. Lions are nearby, so they don't sleep for hours at a time because they're so vulnerable to attack. So they sleep. They only sleep about 5 to 30 minutes a day.
Yep.
In a 24-hour period. And sometimes those are like, all right, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to take a 1-minute nap, standing up.
Right.
Or maybe, boy, I'm super tired. I need to lay down for 6 minutes. And so just Google a picture of giraffe sleeping on the ground, and you will see a giraffe curled up with its long neck kind of craning back towards its rump with his little head on its butt.
Like a swan.
Yeah, it's just adorable.
Yeah. Momo, my dog, she takes naps like a giraffe with her head up, or like a really old person.
Uh-huh.
Or she starts to like nod off and then like lifts her head up. It's cute to see.
Yeah, so a giraffe basically has to stay awake to keep an eye out for predators, and they don't have a voice either. They're one of the quietest mammals in nature.
Yeah, a lot of people think, or thought for a very long time, that giraffes just didn't make sounds because it's so rare to hear them make a sound. But again, further studies found that they do make sounds. They just very infrequently do. And they also think that potentially giraffes communicate to one another over long distances at subsonic frequencies that humans just can't hear.
Right.
So they may be, humming. And there's actually, there's a recording of a giraffe humming to itself in the dark in a zoo.
Wow.
It's really sweet to hear, but if you think of a giraffe by itself in the dark in a zoo and it's humming, it makes you wonder why it's humming like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're around a giraffe, what you might hear, if you're lucky, is like a snort or maybe a hiss or a grunt. Probably won't hear any roaring or mooing, although they can do that. But the idea I've got is that they just don't care to talk to people much.
Yeah. So one thing with the snort in particular, if you do hear a giraffe snort, it means that it's spooked and it's saying, "Oh my gosh," basically, as it's running away. But it's also alerting its fellow giraffes as well. And apparently giraffes are easily spooked enough that they're kind of like an early warning signal for the other animals on the savannah.
Yeah.
That they've spotted a lion. So they're easily spooked, but they also can see really, really well over very long distances. And because of that height advantage, they can see even further. So if a giraffe starts running, the other animals are like, "I'm out too."
Well, yeah, not only that, and this is so cool. I love it when animals work together like that, but it goes even deeper. If you look up tick bird on giraffe, just Google that stuff, you're going to see a giraffe hanging out with these little birds all over its back and neck. And they're buddies. They have a symbiotic relationship. And what happens is the tick bird, or it's called an oxpecker because they do this on other animals as well. But they basically sit on top of these animals and they eat bugs in the coat. They kind of pick their nits and they warn the giraffe. Like they might see a lion and make their noise. I don't know what it sounds like. All right, they'll do that. And then the giraffe, in turn, snorts and takes off. So, in a sense, the tick bird is sort of warning everyone on the savannah that the lion is coming around. Poor lions. They get such a bad rap.
Yeah,